Welcome to another episode of Business Fumbles. I am your host, Sheila Williams, and today's guest is a person that has been into being an entrepreneur for several years. Her name is Darshelle. She's ran her restaurants and all different types of things. And today's episode is going to be really, really interesting because we're going to talk about a lot of those blunders that I want to give each and every one of you out there the knowledge so that you can do something different. So I'm going to have her introduce herself and tell you guys a little bit about her before we dig into the interview.
Hi, good
Hi.
morning.
Good.
Well, afternoon. How
Yeah,
are
I
you?
know.
I just came out of a different time zone. How you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Okay. Then for the record, for those who do not know me, my name is Darshelle, and I am the former owner, technically still a legal owner, of
Mhm.
TasteBudz Las Vegas. Spell that out, Las Vegas. There is another TasteBudz out there. I am TasteBudz Las Vegas. So, um, I started a business. The idea, the conception of Taste Buds Las Vegas happened a long, long time ago when as a child, as a Cajun restaurant, and me and another person, her name is Kia McIntyre. We came up with the idea in 2018, business plan in 2019, and she moved end of 2019. So I took on another business partner that I really didn't know, and there's the caveat to business blenders, and stayed in business for about 4 years. So a lot of um, trips and slips along that
Yeah.
path, but we're going to talk about that, I'm sure.
Listen, y'all. If y'all go to her website, y'all gonna see that I got butted. And don't be talking about me because I look a hot mess. But the potato was it was so good.
Transparency is
It really
everything.
was good. But let's get into the business part. I had to put that out there because, I have people all the time. I seen you get butted. I'm like, yeah, I got butted. Okay?
The fact that people are saying you got butted,
Butted. Yeah.
see, that is one thing I got right.
Yeah.
The trademark and the slogan, get butted with taste buds. Oh,
Yeah.
yes. And she got butted.
So, I met you, I think it was like 2019, 2020,
Mm-hmm.
right? When you came to me and I got to taste your food. It was good and I continued to, you know, order your food, but I work with you and I work with you through a difficult time. And a lot of people, they will start their business. You started yours with someone that you had a common interest with and that you knew that it was going to work because you both were on the same page. And then when she left, you partnered with someone was number one you were in a relationship with, so it's almost like you could trust them. And I want you to talk about, the partnership, where you went wrong, things that you should have, you know, noticed and you didn't. And I think that it's very important to talk about this because a lot of times we partner with people that we trust, and we feel like it's going to be good because we trust them. So I think that your experience is going to really bring shed light on a lot of the things,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah. First and foremost, I will let you know what I learned is and I don't know whose higher power is what, but if you have a relationship with the universe, if you have a relationship with your higher power, mine personally is God.
Hmm.
Seek Him first before you make some decisions, and do not make permanent decisions off of temporary situations. And that's what I did. You're absolutely right. Met someone who claimed to have my best interests in mind. You see the air
Hmm.
quotes, but there were so many red flags. And when you are in a relationship sort of kind of situationship, let's call it that, because I don't like saying,
Situationship.
yeah, 'cause
Okay.
I don't like
Situationship.
calling
I
that.
got that. I got that.
Yeah, I don't like calling that a relationship.
Uh-huh.
That was total manipulation. That
Okay.
was, so it was. But if you see red flags, don't make a cape and start charging bulls with it. You can't
Yeah.
fix that situation. When you see red flags, address them.
Mhm.
Let them know that you see them.
Mhm.
Let them know your concerns. And there's nothing wrong with a contract. Put everything you want in writing. So
Absolutely.
this is what I learned, and this is what I did not do.
And a lot of us don't do it because we're familiar with them
Mm-hmm.
and we feel like we can trust them. Like, you know, especially like if you're in a relationship or you're married, you feel like the contract is not necessary because you're in that relationship and you assume that you guys are on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I want to really get into it because I remember when you came to me and we put your financials together, and when I called you and I said, "Well, this is not making sense," and I sort of put it to you like you were trying to hide money, and you're like, "I'm not hiding no money. That is what it is. That's when into the
Mm-hmm.
bank or whatever." And so I remember you coming in and I'm doing the calculations and I can
Mm-hmm.
remember your facial expression like, uh, what?
Mm-hmm.
You know? And so talk about how that affected you because now you're learning that what you worked hard for and the people that you trusted was basically taking everything for themselves.
So to be completely transparent, I'm so glad. I believe what Brandon is the one that
Mm-hmm.
recommended you, and another chef, another owner in
Mm-hmm.
kitchen, and I'm glad that I listened. That's the one thing that I got right was listening, and coming to you. I think that we just said off camera
Mm-hmm.
about how you'll give people what they want, but you'll do it your way,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone wins. That's why you call She Wins,
Uh-huh.
because you gave it to me your way.
Yeah.
I thought I was coming in for one thing, and she gave it to me like straight no chaser, that your money is being stolen. It's being embezzled. She did a forensic audit,
Yeah.
and I'm like, wait a minute, I haven't been to a strip club. What is this? The credit cards and debit cards are being used at strip clubs. We're taking products back for inventory and getting the cash back instead of putting it back on the card so it can go into the account and we're pocketing it. It was like little entry idiosyncrasies. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
what the word is. Little micro things that were being done,
Mm-hmm.
because this guy would be bringing me receipts like this thick and
Yeah.
would dare me to go through them and say, you know, I'm spending the money right. You can check it. And so I did. And she's like, no.
Wait, from the audience perspective, I gotta ask. So you found this out because Sheila was going through your numbers, and that's how you found out?
Yes.
Ooh,
Yes.
all
So
right.
this is why people, if you own a business, come to She Wins. This
No.
is I hate to, put it like that, but it's a lot of things that we don't know that hurt us.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they say knowledge is power, it is. It hurts. The truth hurts. It's not designed to, comfort, but it is designed to give you an avenue in where you can make a decision. So, I found out that money was being embezzled and stolen when I came here. And I would always wonder, where's all the money going?
Yep.
Why do I have to go into my personal bank account when we're making six figures?
Yeah.
And I never wanted this. You don't start a business for it to fail. And
Right.
every single time I came to her, I'm like, what? I don't know what's going on. And she's like, are you sure? You don't know what's going on. Are you sure? Then someone in your camp knows. And that made me look. Um, and another thing, you touch base, like, we want to trust these people. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't. I didn't. I didn't from but the thing is, you start to think the problem's you know,
Yes.
you've had
Mhm.
trust issues in the past, and, maybe you're, being prejudgmental or something like that. And then when I would bring the topic up to the business partner, it was like, oh, you don't trust me. You don't do this. You don't do that. And I should have said, yes, I don't. But that's not what I did.
Yeah.
And so I cowered and I bowed down, and I let it go
Yeah.
instead of putting it in writing like I wanted to.
And I remember with you guys being in my office and I was going over the numbers and asking the questions. And I can remember you looking at him and he's like, oh, yeah, yeah, and his answers just was not, it wasn't adding
Way
up.
left.
And, and it got to the point where I was like, okay, look, when you have a person that knows numbers, right? I can look at a sheet of just so many different numbers and they say, find what's wrong with it. And it takes me all of a second to point at it. I've had situations where my staff is working on something and it's driving them crazy and they're off, $50 or something like that, something small. And they're looking through all of the numbers and they can't find it. And then I'll get up and walk over and say, it's there. And they get so mad, like, how did you find that? And for some reason, for my mind and my eye, it stands out. So you can't bring me, they were spending their cost for the food,
Mm-hmm.
okay, on average, okay, it's not going to be over a certain percentage. Your food cost is not going to be over a certain percentage when it comes to the restaurant. Their food cost was like 65, 75%.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that it didn't make sense because nobody's going to spend that much. In a restaurant industry, their highest cost, and Tim, you can back me up on this. Their highest cost is the payroll.
Yeah, it's
Their
true.
staff. That's the highest cost. And usually that's hitting close to 50%. So how can your cost for food oversee your employees and things like that?
And I was
So
working 3 jobs, and I
yeah,
paid payroll out of my own pocket.
exactly. And so then
Mm-hmm.
when I brought that up, and I said the money is just not adding up. And the only way she figured it out, and this is another thing, if you have an accountant or a bookkeeper and you are a restaurant and they never question you about your POS system, get rid of them. Because your POS system is going to tell you what is going down. And when she gave me the reports from the POS system, I told her, I said, see, and that wasn't even all of it because some of it was just going through and it wasn't even going in the register. It was going in his
Yeah.
pocket,
Mm-hmm.
So I remember going over that and how upset and disgusted you were, and I feel like it's important to discuss this because, again, we build relationships and we create this trust and feeling that, this person have my back. But when it comes to business, you can't do that. Even with if it's your husband, you should have some type of document specifying who is responsible for what.
And we had that, and he just flagrantly did not care. He would make business decisions. He would spend money. He would do all kinds of things. And I would go back and I'm like, well, who signed this invoice? Who ordered this? Who did this? Why did you buy this when you don't have that buying power? And he was like, well, I'm here all the time, so you can't question me. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. But it would always blow up to be a huge argument. You were there. You saw a lot of times. If big red flag, ladies and gentlemen, and those who are non binary, if they throw a fit when you just ask a simple question, red flag. Don't
Mhm.
ignore it.
Mm-hmm.
Red flag.
Yes.
If they are yelling and screaming at you and you're just like, really? All I did was ask you a question. Something's going on. Don't be intimidated. Invoke your own power. Quit giving quit putting all your confidence in other people. Put some in yourself, because sometimes you need that to stand up to Goliath, David. You do.
Yeah.
So,
So do you feel? Well, actually, obviously, we're talking more about along the lines of you have to be aware of the red flags,
mm-hmm,
and obviously, you wish maybe you acted on the red flag a little bit sooner.
mm-hmm.
About how long did it take you to make a decision after realizing what you were seeing was a red flag, that there was more behind it than just defensiveness or something like that?
I think when I actually acted on it, it was probably a few more months after she said
Yeah.
something.
Okay.
Because I wanted, to bring the proof to him, and he at first he was just being dismissive. He would be like, "That's your friend." I'm like, "I met her when you met her." So,
Yeah. Yeah.
stuff like that. She'll fabricate something for you. No, she won't. That's her job to be
Yeah.
professional. So I met her when you met her. So, and she again was recommended by someone that we both knew. So I'm like, come on now. But he had a way, and if they try to be manipulative, that's a narcissistic trait. Please don't ignore that red flag. That is the largest red flag. That thing is huge.
And the
Don't do that.
important thing for people to take from this is you had already established this, right?
It was
It
my
was
business,
it was your business, and
right?
so you allow him to come in. So I want to discuss some of that. You
Mm.
allow him to come in because you were working the other job. So you say, okay, you run the restaurant
Mm-hmm.
for me in the day, and I'll come, and
At night.
I would do it at night, and we just work together. And now it's something that you created, something you put your sweat and tears in. You created a name for Taste Bud. You went out there and say, I'm gonna bud people, and you did that. And now someone that you trusted has taken your idea and run with it.
Mm-hmm.
Tell them about that.
Well, he would make it seem like he was doing me a favor. Oh, you work so hard. You don't have to come in. I got it. Me and the staff, because at one point I had 15 employees. So we were doing pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And he came in and he was just like, no, the only time I want them to see you is, when the big boss comes in, and, it'll scare him a little bit. And I was like, I don't want to be scary. I want to be approachable. I want us to grow, and but when you're working like 3 jobs,
Mm-hmm.
you are tired. And I would work on East Coast time. So one of my jobs started at 7 in the morning East Coast time, which is 4 a.m. here. And during COVID, you could work 2, 3 jobs with 2, 3 laptops and wear 2, 3 headsets on your ears and kind of balancing. I looked like a phone operator. I was like old school, But it literally kept the business afloat. I was giving, 2 of my paychecks wholly and heartedly to just the business alone, just to make sure that the employees got paid.
Yeah, and then you learned that the business was making enough to
Hmm.
cover that. So you lost
You
sort
told
of
me,
double,
yeah, you
because you
told me
were,
it made over 6 figures, and we weren't even in what, July,
yeah.
and I'm like, wait, what? Where's the? That's when where's the money? Where is the money? So the employees were becoming disgruntled because their paychecks were always late, because I'm thinking that they were going to be paid, and they weren't, and I had to, circumvent. I
Yeah.
think what it was is we got a grant from, it was the uh, restaurant revitalization grant,
Mm-hmm.
and that was huge for us. That was a big win for us. And I was able to take care of so much. And then there was no money left.
Yeah, because you got the location, you got another
Hmm.
location, a sit down location. But then after you did that and you continue to work, why don't you tell them what he eventually done with your idea
Oh, they won't.
and your restaurant?
Look,
You know,
listeners, you will
but
not believe this.
yes, I mean, we want to put it out there, you
Yeah,
know.
because if you have if you have a you won't believe this story, trust me, I will. So, I'll believe you. I promise you. So, we had a pickup and delivery type of business. So, we were in a ghost kitchen on Pecos and North Las Vegas Boulevard, and it was going great, we had everybody getting butted. They would hold up the sign, "Get butted." But there's videos on social media where everybody's talking about they got butted, and they're happy. We actually had a food critic come to our location, and he did a whole segment there. And I think it's still on YouTube. LV Munchies, I believe. Edgar Alejandro was the host, and he came out, and it was a huge boost. It really was. Everybody talks about, Keith Lee and
Mm-hmm.
places like that. Well, we didn't get that opportunity because we moved I always wanted to go into a sit down restaurant. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to actually have fun with people. I wanted them to get butted. I wanted them to be able to, get a liquor license, maybe throw a beer and a bud and watch the game and, just actually, bring your kids and, whatever. Just a kind of like a think Applebee's, but not Applebee's type of thing.
Movies.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to sitting down, feeling like you're at home and eating home cooked food that makes you feel like one customer even said that it brought memories of her childhood back. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, I was and people don't believe this, but I was taught how to cook real early because that's how, people in the South, that's how they show love. Bring your kids in the kitchen. Let's, show you how to do this and do that.
Oh, my family
So,
was the same. Don't worry, I know.
okay, all right.
Yeah.
So, and I was blessed to have my great grandparents, my grandparents, showing me all the ropes of the kitchen. So, to actually, I remember a story. I told my grandmother, I was like, "You cook so good. Why don't you open a restaurant?" And she said, "I'm black, honey. They're not gonna let me open a restaurant because it's in the South, and you know." So, and I told her, I said, I'll get you a restaurant. I'll get you one. I'll open one, and I made good on my promise.
Yeah.
All these years later, the 8-year-old kid in me was able to deliver that promise to my grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was ruined because I
Yes.
gave that promise away. But this is what happened. So ironically, it's over there where the other Taste Buds is now.
I was
Um,
gonna say that because
mm-hmm,
we're gonna peel back the curtain a little bit for the
mm-hmm,
viewers.
please.
When I heard about this, I googled it and I got two taste buds.
Yeah.
So is the other one connected to you at all?
No, not to me.
Oh,
He went over there. So,
I think I jumped ahead.
Yeah. He went over there, but now this
I'm not.
guy's taste bud, his started after yours, right?
I believe so, yes.
It started
And then they
afterwards.
started selling potatoes, and I think on their social media they even have on there, if you can't beat them, join them, or whatever that other taste bud says. And we looked, I was like, what?
How did that exactly come to happen? That he started a whole nother restaurant
No,
with a similar
he's
name.
not one of the owners. I think he went over there and he gave them ideas.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
Yeah, he
He
called
sort
him.
of stole her idea.
Yeah,
And then
he
she
called himself a
found,
business consultant. You see the
Got
yeah,
air quotes again, right?
yeah.
Business. He actually he started a business consulting other people as well,
Mm-hmm.
other business owners, and they would pay him a fee for that, and then he would ghost them. He would just be like Casper and disappear. Yeah.
Yeah. He was a real shyster,
Mm-hmm.
and then by the time she found out, he was, giving up her recipes and everything.
Yeah, recipes that I had from, like, I know the gumbo recipe. I from what I could the in my grandmother's recipe book, it has a date of September 2nd, 1829. So, you know, uh, definitely not his, but yeah, we were number one. We're closing out our lease on the ghost kitchen, and we're getting ready to move. He's nowhere to be found. I'm moving furniture. My family's moving furniture. The employees, we're moving all of our stuff into this new location. We don't know where he is. He took a trip. No money, but you took a
Mhm.
trip. Then we go into the other location a couple of days later so we can go ahead and start, you know, opening up, cleaning up, rearranging and everything, and, you know, hooking up the equipment, making sure that everything is good to go. I paid all this money for the first deposit, first
Mhm.
and last month's m- rent and everything else, and we had the inspectors come out, and we got the go ahead, the green light to get started. We go in there, all of our equipment is gone. He sold all of the equipment. He sold our ovens. He sold our steam tables. He sold our refrigerators. He sold our prep tables. He sold everything. Everything was gone.
Yep.
Nothing was there. So then,
For the audio listeners, my mouth is on the floor.
Okay.
yeah, we went in there.
Yeah.
And I had one assistant manager I trusted with my life. I believed him. He was like, I'm watching him. I'm watching him put money in his pockets. And he was like, no, I just reimbursed myself for gas. I just, it was
Yeah.
always an excuse. But when we went in there and nothing was there, my mouth dropped too. Um, First, we found out that he took all the money.
Yep.
And so that was like, okay, I'm putting everything on my credit cards and stuff. We're going to get these inspections rolling. I'm going to get my people back, because they are waiting. They have bills to pay, rent coming in, and they have no income. So we got to get this restaurant open.
Yep.
So no money in the bank. We can make the money opening up. And then we go in there. We can't make the money because we have no equipment. So we have no equipment, so we can't make money. We can't buy equipment because we have no money. And
Yep.
that was the end of TasteBudz.
Yep.
So for a lot of listeners, I've still got my website. I will still cater. I will still, do any and everything. But that would take a lot of confidence out of your sale when you had a great, viable business
Yep.
in the heart of, a city that the world comes to. And it's taken from you just like that. So
And it was due to trust. I remember,
mm-hmm.
You told me to come out and see your location to um get my first bud. Okay. And I
I love how
remember
she
getting
does
there
that.
and I was calling you and you were at the store because you were opening and he was supposed to had went and got all of the grocery because he had spent the money and she had to
Mm-hmm.
go to the grocery store before they literally open. And at that time they were using the Uber Eats and all of them, DoorDash.
Mm-hmm.
So they had orders in the system that need to be prepared. She had a line outside that was picking up their order, and she was at the store trying to get all of the stuff to make all of the orders. And when she got there, of course, they had to prep it, and it was a little late. And she was just like, just give people some stuff free because they had to wait. And I remember her being like really mad because she lost a lot of money because he told her, "We got the food, we got everything." So she opened like, and then when she got there, they had nothing. She had to
Mm-hmm.
go to the grocery store. So,
And that was a huge complaint. That especially
yes.
that day, it was all about the wait times and food
Yep.
was late, and it took 2-3 hours to get my food.
Food. Yep.
And that's why, because I literally thought we had everything the way he said. And I thought that I had plenty of inventory, my people. And when they called and said, we don't have
Have
anything,
nothing there. Yep.
we don't have anything. And yeah, I
And she
believe.
had to get off work, run to
Mhm,
the store and do
mhm.
that. And so and
Yeah.
you know, I
His
remember
mouth is on
having
the floor
some
again.
I
Tim's
know.
mouth
Sorry,
is
I'm
on.
literally just
Yeah.
like.
But and yeah, I would rather give away free food than lose a loyal customer.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard because when you're a mom and pop, when you're first starting out and things don't go right, of course people will write a bad review, or they'll say I'm going somewhere else. Well, number one, I'm still the best bud maker in the business. I don't get it twisted. I will pop my collar and I will challenge anybody who makes stuffed potatoes, come see me. I
All right.
I will do
All
that.
right.
I will do that because
Yeah.
the concept was mine. I brought that to Las Vegas. I
Yeah.
did. So, and my recipes, original recipes, I'm from the South, born in the South, raised in the South. I've been cooking since I was 6 years old. Nobody can touch me.
Yeah.
So let me just put that out there. If you want a good stuffed baked potato, you can still go to TasteBudzLV.com. That's mine. TasteBudzLV.com
LV. Yeah.
is mine.
Yeah.
It's not the other people. Please quit writing Google reviews for the other taste buds on my page. I have not tried them yet. I'm sure that they're a great establishment, but if they are or are not, write it on their page. They are Taste Buds Creole Kitchen. Look for Taste Buds Creole Kitchen, not Taste Buds LV. That's me. So Taste Buds Las Vegas is still legally mine. So, but give them their props or whatever, but take it over there. Don't give it to me. Don't. That's all I'm saying. So I have to tell people that all the time. They're leaving Google reviews for the wrong taste buds on my page.
Yeah.
And
But yours was started so like
yeah,
sometimes, to be honest, sometimes people will just Google and they'll say taste buds because they're not gonna put, taste buds Creole or whatever. It's
I thought
usually
it was
the
ironic
first.
that there were two.
Yeah.
And even they had reached out, I think, to the old business partner.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's how they made their connection. But they were like, why would the state issue two taste buds? Well, it's not really two taste buds. One is Taste Buds Las Vegas and one is Taste Buds Creole Kitchen.
Yeah.
So
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 and if you
confusing.
change it,
Yeah.
and that's another thing people need to understand when you're opening your business. Um, if you don't trademark that name, then anybody can use it. So like for me, my attorneys is on my back now, saying you need to trademark She Wins, and I would, um, and there's another company out there that's using She Wins, but she was not able to put it together like one word. She had to put she and then space wins, you know. So to me, it's like, why do I have to trademark? She'll never be able to use it the
Oh,
way
yes,
that
she
I'm
can.
using it because
Yes, she
I got
can.
it with the state. She would have to put something behind it. She couldn't just put, she win. She could do she win without the S. And in all honesty,
But it just
I think that
confuses your
it's
fan base.
yeah.
Yeah,
Your
But
it
I
does.
think
base.
that it won't fly,
Mm-hmm.
even if they try to put an S because I tried, and it wouldn't allow me to do that because the IRS will stop you. Soon
Yes,
as
they will.
you're putting everything in and you're thinking you're good, and then at the end of it you get an error,
Mm-hmm.
and that error usually, I forget what the code is, but somebody already has that name, so they're not going to let you do it. But I went when I did the speaking event in Atlanta last year, um, and there was an attorney there, and she saw that I was on the panel or whatever, and she looked me up, and she says, this was an attorney. She says, "Man, your name is so unique," and she says, "And your whole setup It's very professional, but it's unique. You should trademark it.
Mhm.
So I'm getting that from a lot of people. And if I trademark it, then the person that she has a nonprofit and it says She Wins, but it's for something else. If I did that, she would have to change her name.
Mhm.
And the funny part about it is it was sent to me by somebody else, and she's using my colors and everything. I'm like, really?
Sometimes it's coincidence and sometimes it is not. So we
No, well, that
assume
that wasn't
positive,
because you can see when she
assume
started
positive
versus
intent.
when I started.
Mm-hmm.
So I started in 2015. She came in 20 something, 2020, 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And the colors, that's not a coincidence. The colors, gold and black, come on. Okay. And then the whole pictures and everything. And so when it was sent to me, it was sent to me by my niece. And I think she just wanted to say, hey, look at this. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's nice. And she's like, you're not mad? And I was like, no, I inspired somebody this morning.
That's
Or
a
I
great
guess in
that's a great spin
20
on
something.
it.
I
I
inspired
like that.
someone. So, hey, have at it. So that's the only reason why I haven't is because I just feel that right now, what I'm doing is meant for me. If it wasn't, then it wouldn't move forward, so to speak. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't for me, it wouldn't move forward. So I'm not gonna worry about that. But in your case, because when I first came to you and I Googled TasteBudz, there was not another one. That came after the fact. I know that for a fact. It came after the fact. So, I don't know if they copied or whatever. And then they didn't do potatoes.
No, they didn't.
They didn't do
The
potatoes.
potato idea, I believe, came from the business partner that.
He
So
took her idea over to them.
okay, so they don't work with the potatoes at all, though.
That's not from what I understand, that's not their biggest seller. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know how to cook soul food better than probably uh, half of people. And I'm not knocking anyone who cooks soul food. I will come and get some. Bring me a plate. I will get some. I love soul food. But I'm just saying that put me in the number with the collective that can actually really, really cook soul
Mm-hmm.
food. I just haven't had theirs. So I'm not saying that it's, one way or another. I've heard some pretty good things about their soul food. And so that is from my perspective, that is their biggest seller. I always hear about oxtails. Oxtails are going to be for me. They're too expensive for me to buy and prepare. I don't want to charge people that kind of price, so I won't do it. But, hey, if you're hungry, I got you. But
Oxtails is literally my favorite dish.
okay,
Is
I
it?
got and see,
Yes,
and
yes,
No way.
I got you.
absolutely, it is.
I just
You
don't.
don't.
Dominican Republic is not far from Haiti, so
Oh, it's not?
Dominican Republic's on the same island.
Oh,
Yeah, they
I
share the island.
Yeah,
well, you know what? I had now this is the funniest thing,
But I heard their
people,
oxtails are good. I
yeah,
heard.
well, oxtails
I
is
don't know.
supposed to be a soul food, right?
Mhm.
It's a part of the soul food. Tell me why I had it and I didn't like it. I didn't like the texture of the meat. I did not like it. And I tried it.
You'll have
I
mine.
tried a couple of
She'll
different
like mine.
ways. And they were like, oh, it's going to be the best. And literally, I ate a little bit and I had to literally spit it out. I didn't like the taste, the texture of it.
this
I
is
think.
still related to the topic because you're business with food, so we're gonna stay on this.
Okay.
Yeah.
But how did they prepare it real quick? Was it like a stew and it was off the bone, or was it still on the bone? How did they prepare it for you?
I think it was like a stew
Okay.
because it was still on the bone and you had to bite it off the bone. And
Bite
I
it off.
didn't-
If
well,
it don't fall, if I was
It-
about
it
to
should
say,
be
if it don't
melted
it
fall
fell
off.
off.
Oh, okay.
It fell
I was about
off
to
because
say, you got to.
but even the
If it's
meat
like a
when
chew
I
toy,
put
don't
it
do
in
it.
there, and then you know
She
who?
knows.
Well, another friend of mine, she goes to Jerk Chicken. I think it's called Jerk. What is it called? Big Jerk. And she got some oxtails from them. And she's like, here, taste this. This is going to be so good. Now, I had their jerk, all of their food. Okay,
You may not just be an oxtail
Yeah.
fan.
right. So that's why I'm saying
Yeah.
I did not like it. I mean, literally, it made me want to, like, in my mouth, I felt like I wanted to throw up. I had to spit it
So
out.
you just don't
I
like,
just didn't like the texture of it.
and that's fine. I'm from the South, and everybody's like, I can cook fried okra. I will not touch it on my palate. I will not let it touch.
Too slimy.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but maybe it's because I was force fed it as a kid so much, because we literally grew our own vegetables like fresh. Like my grandmother, we were out in that garden all the time. There was nothing that we didn't grow. So, but with that being said, if you got too much, guess what? They're gonna cook it and you're gonna eat it to death, and you're not gonna like it anymore. But because I know how to cook it. And my family loves it. I won't eat it. Fried green tomatoes. I won't touch it. I will. I will. I'm
Well, I like
sorry.
fried green
Again,
tomatoes.
see, you like them,
Yeah.
but see, I don't. And again, it's probably because I was force fed it as a kid. I went to Hawaii and they were like, try our Hawaiian this or that. And it was spam. I was force fed that as a kid. No disrespect to anybody, but when you are force fed certain things growing up, you're just like, I'm over it.
Yeah.
No, I'm good. So I used to eat coconut. Like my grandmother she would shave it, and I would just take a handful and I would just put it in my mouth. I would just eat it. Now I won't touch it. So it's weird as we
Yeah.
grow up, our taste change.
Yeah.
But I'm still a beast in the kitchen. I still got you.
Okay,
Stuffed
okay, 'cause
stuffed
listen,
mushrooms and stuff like
yeah.
that. I can make. I will not eat. So I get it.
Yeah.
You don't like.
I
You
just
don't like
didn't like it.
oxtails.
That's why I was like,
And see, a lot
"Ugh."
of people rave. I have heard a lot of good things about the other taste buds and their oxtails and stuff like that. I just haven't. I have not had their food.
Yeah.
I just honestly
Well,
have
it's
not
probably
had it.
due to the
But
fact that he stole a lot of your stuff and took it over there too now. And now they're selling the stuff that, was once your mark for your restaurant.
Actually, you know what? I want to ask
I
you that real quick.
inspired,
Going
like
back,
she said, inspired.
going back to that, because obviously you have huge pride in food, and I know you love good food and everything like that.
do.
And you mentioned there were other issues we didn't even get to touch on like stuff that was going on in the restaurant you didn't know about, like with the employees and some reviews and stuff like that, or things that were being done that wasn't the way you would have had it.
Right.
How important is it for a business owner, especially like I work in food industry as well, to know what's going on in their restaurant?
Oh God, it's
And
so
food wise, employee wise, like, but obviously you didn't know everything. That's where a lot of this problem came from. How important is it for a business owner to be
oh my
aware of
gosh,
what's going
it's
on?
critical because your reputation is tied to your brand. So if you don't know what's going on, then you look like you have no clue. How can anyone have confidence in you if you don't know what's going on? If you're clueless, I can't trust you to, I can't trust you to take care of your business. How am I going to trust you with my business? So that's another thing that I would tell anybody, be on top of it. I don't care how many other jobs or how many other businesses you have going on, be on top of your brand. When I was in there and I was in there all the time, things went so much smoother.
Yeah.
She told me, she was like, you're going to have to be in your business all the time. I would take my work computers to work. And I would, I would just have to make sure I listened, but I'm cooking. And one good thing, again, I have this, one assistant manager, love him. I taught him everything I know, but I guess I'm still better than him. So they were getting behind on orders, and I was like, move out the way. And he was like, no, Miss Darshelle, I got this. I said, move out the way. You can help, but move. And I pushed those orders out like that. He was like, dang, don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted. Don't. And it's not fast food. Let me just make that clear. It's not fast food, but it's food made with love and passion. So if you don't have that passion, you're not going to push it out. You're not going to get it the
Right.
way that, I feel like I can. So I have to tell them that, like, his name is Q. I love Q. I do.
Yeah, I
So,
remember him. Yeah.
and I would let them know, look, my vision is to own a couple of these. And so if you want to be part of that, if you want to run your own and make life-changing money and be like a general manager or something like that, you got to own this like I do. And that's why I loved him, because he was like, let's get it.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
he was there, he was committed, and other people, they were there for a job, but he saw a bigger vision, and he brought two family members with him to actually join the crew. One saw that vision, but one wanted to switch up things and be his own chef, and that doesn't work, not when you're in my kitchen. So but
Hey.
he had, he got him straight and stuff. But I remember this one night where it was me and Q on the line, and what I do is I have stuffed baked potatoes. If it doesn't go to from my wrist to the elbow, I don't want it.
The whole potato?
The whole potato. I get these massive baked potatoes, and everybody's like, "Where do you get them from?" You think I'm gonna tell you? So there's no steroids or anything, but they grow bigger than your hand. So yes, naturally. But yeah, I look for the biggest ones, like the ones that restaurants on the strip will reject because they're too big. Give them to me.
Yeah.
So I do prepare the regular sizes, and then we have the large. So regular sizes is one price, large is another one. But you're
Yeah,
gonna.
you had the mini ones too, right? What were they
Oh yeah,
called?
the russet potatoes.
Yeah.
I call them bud babies. So I
Yeah.
could do. Look, I can make what we call a Goliath, which is I can make them bigger and bigger, where you could feed your whole family off of one pan
Yeah.
of stuffed potato. And it would be my original recipes. So nobody could duplicate anything, And I think the biggest challenge for me is I took it to New Orleans. Well, I have family in Baton Rouge and Kenner, Lafayette, you know, um, and then up in Southern Louisiana does
Mhm.
not claim Northern Louisiana. I don't understand why, but and into Southern Arkansas. So I took I took TasteBudz on the road, and we actually did the county fair, and over 2,000 people got budded. And it was beautiful because my hometown, my people, who are the toughest critics about Southern cuisine, because they know it, they live it, they
Yes,
breathe
they
it, they
sure
cook it.
do. They sure
They
I
do.
see that.
know what flavor is supposed to taste like. They all gave me kudos. I loved it. They called me the hometown celebrity. I walked through and they were like,
You gonna go there and you
"It's the
finna be a
potato."
celebrity now.
Yeah, well, they call me the potato lady.
Yeah.
So I don't even have a name anymore. That's the
But that's
potato lady. So, but in my hometown it means more than it does in Las Vegas,
Yeah.
because those are your people. Those are the real constituents. If you can please them, you can please anyone.
Yeah, but in Las Vegas,
A
you have a
lot of
lot of
Southerners, yeah.
following,
Hmm.
but the most
I love
important
my
thing
father. I
is,
have
yeah.
they still they're inboxing me like, "Where are y'all?
Yeah.
I went to the location. You're not there. Where are you? I need a potato. I have to have a potato. Don't do this to me. Where's but I actually read those messages, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So
Yeah.
the plan is to bring it back bigger, better than ever. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that, because you have
Yes.
been making me hungry for the past, I don't even know how
Ask
long.
her.
Yeah.
Ask her.
And I wanted to
would.
know, are you going to reopen this place?
I am.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
She's gonna help me.
Yeah. And
She's
the most important
Yep.
thing, like
Give me.
I appreciate you coming on the podcast, but I want people to take from this, number one, that you had a passion, you had a good product. Number two, you trusted, and in that trust, you lost everything
Hmm.
because you felt like it was something that you could trust. And people have to be careful out there when you're doing your business, and you
Absolutely.
have to remember, when it's your business, you started it. You're the backing for it. You're the one who's putting in all of the work, man hours or whatever. So to basically take your business and put it in somebody else's hands,
It's
in my
suicide.
opinion, right.
It's
It could
suicide.
be
Business.
suicide. It could
It's
be,
business suicide.
and you have to, even if because I'm at that point now where I've created and I'm sort of like letting other people take over, but I'm never not going to be here. I'm always going to look and say, hey, don't send nothing out without me looking at it first.
The
I'm
approval.
still reviewing, I'm still looking at things and so you have to remember that when you're having your business, she said it best. Know who you're doing business with. Know that you have a contract, something in place saying what your responsibility is, what that person's responsibility is. Make sure that everybody within that partnership or whatever understands, especially for you, those of you that's doing a partnership with a silent person, because a silent partner will come up in and they'll say, oh, I'm just going to give all of the money. But then once they see what you've done and they see the money, all of their input becomes the most important, and they want to be involved in stuff that they never said that they wanted to be involved in. So
And
don't
can I add to what you're saying as well? Uh, Ladies, gentlemen, and non-binaries. But
non-binary.
I have to be,
I said everybody.
everybody. Let me
Okay.
go ahead. It's all inclusive because everyone is intelligent enough to receive what I'm about to tell you. Don't buy it's intellectual property crap. Don't do that because I was fed that, and so I believed it, and it made me weak. This gentleman took over the social media, and mind you, he did an awesome job. Let me just make that clear. In order for TasteBudz Las Vegas to get as big as it was that quick, it needed a social media following. It needed to get out there. It needed, the Google ratings. We need to show up first on, searches and stuff like that. He did all of that, and it was brilliant. You can pay people less than what I lost, okay, for the same thing if you have to. But if you don't know about it, if you don't know what you're doing, you can hire people who will respect the fact that they are hired and respect the fact that they are earning your business, and they'll do a great job for you. And you don't have to trust somebody who says, well, this is my intellectual property. If you don't make me a partner, I'll shut it all down and stuff like that. Because that is another thing that happened to me.
Yeah.
I felt like I had to do certain things. I had no choice. I felt like I was locked in. You know the elephant syndrome, right? When the elephant is little and it's chained, it can't break free, but then once it gets big enough, it doesn't know it can break free. So that literally was my problem. Reading is fundamental. If you know how to pick up a book, I'm telling you my mistakes, because this is what the topic is about: the failures, the blunders, the problems that we have foresight. Now we can see ahead, because we couldn't see it back then, because back then you feel like that person has now taken over your business and you now work for them. But read how to build a website.
Yep.
Read how to engage with social media. Meta is a beast. Read how to be on top of things, or get with someone like Sheila who can help teach you what you need to know. Because when you really find someone who doesn't mind sharing the knowledge, those are your people. That's your tribe. When I would ask, even how, and I know how to control my own POS system now, of course. I can go back and I can run reports and I can look at everything and I can do it all myself now. But then it was controlled. And I was told, I'm not telling you just so you can get rid of me. I'm not going to do that. And so I was so limited it was like I was the business owner, and the only thing I was good for is paying bills and cooking.
Yeah.
So no one should ever make you feel that way.
Right.
If you feel that way in your business, go back and check yourself before you check other people, because you're the problem. If somebody's making you feel that way, nobody can make you feel that way, my dear, my queen, my king, my non-binaries. Nobody can make you feel that way. Go back and do some checking, and when I say checking, I don't mean just checking on, your business. Check yourself. Get your attitude in check. Get your self-esteem in check. Get your knowledge in check. And then go take your rightful place at what you started. And don't be mean or obnoxious about it. Just let them know, okay, well, assert yourself. I'm going to go ahead and this is what I'm going to do. And make sure you follow through with what you said you're going to do. If you want to be more involved in your business, do it.
Yeah.
And like Sheila said, I pray that you grow. I pray that you multiply. I pray that you have so many, spinoffs of your business that, God is going to continue to bless you. You make sure that those people, like Q did, like Sheila does, you make sure that those people share your same passions. And that they're not taking advantage of you, so you can trust and you can relax a little bit. And so, but never forget that it is your responsibility to make sure that you are not in the red.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
She said it so well, people. And I do want to say we are at our end. We have to, this episode can go on because there's so much information in here, but before we close, Tim, did you want to ask her any last questions? Because I was going to give her some time to talk about what she's doing now. So,
No, I was actually gonna go that way too. I was
Yeah.
actually gonna ask, like, so where are we going at now?
Yeah.
What are we looking at?
Well, right now, I put and I know that I've made a lot of my customers unhappy, and I'm sorry, but I just finished up my master's degree, so I was so close, and I'm like, you know what? Let me focus on those measurable goals that
Yeah.
I can actually do something with, and I'm happy to say I did it. And so I graduated last week.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So I just started with a new company last week as well. So some big first in just a couple of days. And now I'm actually looking at funding. Another little bit of advice: quit answering the phone for every person that says they got funding for you.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to take over your business.
Yeah.
So anyway, but
That's a whole nother episode.
yeah, I'm gonna let
But
her
anyway.
do
Oh,
that with
boy.
somebody else. That's not me. I did not do the,
Okay.
but I'm just saying. So but I am looking into raising business capital through grants and funding. And I want to. I'm not even going to waste time. I'm going to open up a brick and mortar location. And this time we're going to do it right. I'm hoping, Q, if you see this, I'm coming for you wherever you're working at. I'm bringing you back. So, but this time is going to be bigger, better. We're going to have some fun. I learned. I had some great mentors like Sheila, who runs her business. I want to give a shout out to DB from DB's Cajun Kitchen, Trina Giles with Grits Cafe, Chef Jeff Henderson with the Chef Jeff Project. They all took me under their wing, and they were like, "Look, we need to get you back."
Yeah.
And those are some big, heavy hitters here. Sparkle Allen and Devin Moore with Go Urban Las Vegas. They all also own Mariposas. These people are just like, you disappeared, you need to reappear. We're not Houdini. We're not doing the magic tricks. You're coming back, and you're gonna show what you can do.
So you done found your village,
I
girl. You
did.
go ahead.
I did. Like
So
when you fall, the thing is, when you fall from the mountaintop into the valley, you check and see who's coming looking for you. Those are your people. So they were like, no, we're lifting you up. Let's go.
yes.
So
So how can the people find you now? So they listening to this podcast or they're watching this podcast. So now how can they get in contact with you? Because I know you're closed, but I'll contact you and I'll be like, girl, I need my bud.
She
I need
does.
my
I'm,
She
bud.
I'm
has
about
my
to be right
personal.
there. I'm
And
about to be
I'll,
right
I'll
there
give
with
it
her.
to you.
Yeah.
She got my
Please,
personal number.
please.
Yeah,
She has and my
she'll
personal.
send it. She'll say, "Okay, I'm gonna bring dinner for you. You don't have to do it because I still get butted, even though she closed. I get butted. But anyway, how do
I
they
got
get
you.
a hold to?
How do I get?
Yeah.
See me. I'll get with you after the
No,
podcast.
no,
and I'll
you
get
got to
you.
give it for everybody.
Okay. Well,
Tell them how
I
they
was
can
gonna
get
give
you.
him my personal number. I don't want
Oh, okay,
everybody.
okay.
No, she gonna give me food.
Yeah.
You can give them the
No,
number.
no,
You
Yeah,
can give
no,
them
I'm
the
gonna give
number.
you I'm gonna give you my number so you can get butted. So you can call me.
Yes.
If you got my personal number, then you already in. Then you're
You
getting
can
butted.
get butted. Yeah.
If you got the number, that is like the Batman signal in the
You know
sky.
you have Isabel in there still waiting on her potato. Soon as
Oh.
I told her that you was coming on, she
Oh.
was like, I ain't never get my bud. I ain't
Oh,
never get my bud.
okay. I'll ask her what kind she wanted, and
Yeah.
I got her. I got
Yep.
her. But for everybody who's watching and listening, I still have the website. You guys can message me. People keep messaging the other taste buds though, so I just ignore them. I'm just gonna be honest. I read every single last message, and if it has nothing to do with me, I don't respond. So that's why you're not getting responses, guys.
So it's TasteBudz Las Vegas,
It-
right?
I'm-
LV, right?
Yeah, LV. TasteBudsLV.com
Yes.
is the website for TasteBuds Las Vegas, not TasteBuds Creole Kitchen, guys. So you got to know who you're trying to reach.
And what's your personal handles for like your Instagram and everything?
It is now it's Get Butted, and I'm gonna change. And that's another thing. Trademarking is important. I did trademark Get Butted. So for all of these dispensaries, don't use it. I'm coming for you. I need to get paid. But I was the
Oh my God. I just got it.
Did you
Right.
just get that?
I just got it. I'm a little slow. Okay.
I trademark. It's the hashtag Get Butted. The USPTO told me that I was the second person in history to trademark a hashtag. So it's hashtag Get Butted. If you look it up on Google, hashtag Get Butted, I promise you, I am going to show up. Period. So, but you can leave a message on the website. You can also still call 702-551-BUDZ, BUDZ. That's 702-551-2839, BUDZ. That is me. So now everything is going to change to Get Butted. I'm not gonna go under TasteBudz anymore. If you are trying to get butted, then you're gonna go Get Butted. Period. But we're not gonna mix up the two anymore. Period.
And nobody
Right.
can can steal it this time.
Nope.
You
not-
know, it's
not a
hers.
soul.
It's hers.
Not a soul. Every recipe has
Yeah.
been trademarked. That is an expensive process. I had 28 original recipes. Now I've got 32, and all of them had to be trademarked.
Oh, wow.
So yes,
That's good.
I learned it's taken a lot of money and a lot of time, but we're gonna do this right this time.
Okay.
So we have you coming
like
back
that.
after you open this place to tell us how that went, right?
Absolutely.
Oh,
All right.
yeah.
All right.
So y'all heard it.
And I
She's
want you
gonna
guys to
back.
come to the grand opening. I'm gonna have a big
Yeah.
grand opening too. So
And when we
my
go to the
gosh.
grand open, we might have some
you know
cameras.
what? You could
And
do
we
this
talk
here
about
at the
it,
grand
you know.
opening if
Hey.
you wanted to.
Don't give me too
Yeah.
many ideas, all right? This is
Okay.
what
Okay,
talking
I'm
about.
just saying. But yes, we're getting everybody butted. You know, get
Alright.
hashtag Get Butted. And we're
Yeah.
gonna have a big wall just like this beautiful wall, and it's gonna say Get Butted. Where of course, we'll still have the signs you can hold up, but
You gonna have red carpet? Because I need to be on the red
I
carpet
need
when
to-
I get
yes.
butted the
Alright.
next time.
yes,
Sheila.
No, I'm
with a
just saying.
whole with a whole banner you're gonna stand in front of. Hey, get butted,
Yeah,
get
get
butted.
butted, hey.
Yes.
So, guys, I really appreciate you all tuning in and listening to another episode of Business Fumbles. And I want to thank each and every one of our listeners. Do not forget, people, if you're listening, comment. Tell me where you're from. Tell me, your experience. If you are a business owner and you want to sit here on this couch, hit us up. We want you here because we want to get the information out there. Because as I always say when I end, knowledge An experience means nothing if it's not shared. So tune in next week for another episode of Business Fumble.